If you wanna be crypto savvy, we can help you skip those valleys. Let's rally, yeah. If you wanna be crypto savvy, we can let investments tally. Let's rally, yeah.
Welcome back to Be Crypto Savvy. I appreciate you jumping into this video. This is the video that we will be covering the Genie.io range report in detail to give you an idea of what you would be getting with this. Now, before jumping into the video, there is a referral link in the description below. Now, that gives you 10% off the report as well as your 2-week free trial. So there's not even a purchase necessary to be able to see what this report can do for you. And I'll tell you what, this is actually a really good value, even at the price point they just initially have it at, before the 10% discount, using the referral link in the description below. And I'll tell you why. Not only if you're an in and out trader or a dollar cost averager, this report will pay for itself just in confirmation of the better entry points, giving you better bang for your dollar when you're putting your money into the market. And not only that, but the team over at Genie.io isn't stopping at just Bitcoin and Ethereum, but they're actually adding several more very popular top tier tokens to their range report, as well as more indicators and a grade for the different exchanges that you could be using. So if you're interested in having artificial intelligence and machine learning confirm your entry and exit points while doing technical analysis, that referral link is in the description below, and we're going to jump into this report. So when you first sign into your Genie.io range report, this is what you'll see. You have a price ticker at your bottom left that currently has the price for just Bitcoin and Ethereum, but remember the Genie.io team is adding several new top tier tokens. So once that happens, you'll have a price ticker for everything covered in the report. To the right, you have your news and events where you're able to click on each one of these and it'll bring you to the article, and you can stay up to date with all the news and current events. And this is a vital piece to the puzzle. You definitely want to make sure that you're keeping up to date with everything going on in the macro global picture, because that plays a huge role in the fluctuations in price. Now when you scroll down, you'll be able to click on either Bitcoin or Ethereum. Again, remember that pretty soon they'll have more tokens that you can choose from, and you'll be able to just easily click and it'll toggle you from one report to the next. So we're going to stick with Bitcoin just for the purpose of this video. These first two graphs that you'll come to are more or less one and the same. They're just representing the same data in two different visual formats. So looking at this left side, we can see this is the volatility forecast, opportunity zone, and relative value over the course of 7 days. So from the top of this pink down to the bottom of this pink is what the range report is forecasting the high and low price range to be between. Now the blue section is what the report is predicting the best value for your money and a good opportunity zone to be purchasing Bitcoin. The green line represents the relative value. Over on the right hand side, we can see that this is the same thing. This is just now in a numerical graph. So your high for the week for each individual day is listed right here. So this would be the top of your pink line. This darker section right here would be the top to bottom of your blue opportunity zone. So you have, just on this day for an example, the opportunity zone would be between $26,826 and $30,080. So this bottom section right here is the bottom line of your pink section, which would represent the forecasted low for that day. And then at the very bottom, you have your relative value, which would represent your green line over on the left side here. Next, we have the Bitcoin hourly candles covering 7 days. This is just like what we would typically look at on our trading view technical analysis. Each one of these candles is 1 hour and it's crossing the span of 7 days. Instead of going through each one of these indicators in super lengthy detail, I'm going to put up a link to a series of videos called trading tools that we are putting together. If you want more of an in-depth understanding of how these indicators work, feel free to jump into those sets of videos, and you'll be able to get a more of a in-depth explanation of how to understand and read these indicators. Our first section here is the Bitcoin hourly RSI over the course of 7 days. Simplest way to understand this is when the RSI reading is at 30 or below, that's signaling underbought, which is increasing the possibility of a price reversal to the upside. When the RSI is at 70 or above, that's signaling overbought, which is increasing the possibility of a price reversal to the downside. And you can also use this to look for divergences as well. We also have the Bitcoin daily RSI, which covers a span of 30 days. And this RSI works in the same way as your hourly RSI, in the sense that if you're at or below the 30 line, you're indicating overbought and looking for a move to the upside, whereas you're at the 70 line or above, you're oversold and you are looking for a move to the downside. Now, looking at your MACD over 30 days, there's two lines on this graph that you see. There's this orange line, which is your MACD, and this green line, which is your signal line. Now, the easiest way to think about this is when this orange line crosses the green line going upwards, that's a bullish move, indicating that you may be expecting to see a price increase in the near future. Now, when the orange line, the MACD line, crosses the signal line in a downward direction, that indicates that you should be expecting a price decrease in the future. One more thing to add to this, you see there is a zero line that comes across here. The farther below or above the cross happens, either below the zero line or above the zero line, is more of a confirmation to expect that price reversal. Looking at our Bitcoin stochastic RSI over the course of 30 days, simple way to understand this is if you're at or below the 20 line, that's indicating oversold and the price could be looking to move up. Whereas if you're at the 80 line or above, that's indicating overbought and you could be looking for a price decrease. Now, if the reading drops from 80 to below 50, that indicates that the price may be looking to move lower. And conversely, if the price is at or below 20 and moves above the 50 line, that's indicating there may be a price increase around the corner. Now, there are two lines on this which indicate the stochastic K and the stochastic D. The K line is your current strength measure, so your current RSI. Your D line is the average RSI over the past 3 days, which is why this green line is more of a smoothed out line, because that's your average. The stochastic is a great tool to look for divergences as well as different crossings between the two lines. So if you're interested in taking a deeper dive into the stochastic, make sure to visit that training tools video. Looking at the Bitcoin average price over 30 days, if you take your mouse and you just hover over this average price, you can see where it gives you a transparent view through the candles, which is really nice. And this line is just giving you your average price over the past 30 days. And speaking of hovering over, you can also hover over the title of these indicators once you're in the report yourself, and that also gives you a brief understanding of how to use these tools. In the report, we also have on balance volume over 30 days, which is giving you a visual of the supply versus demand, which is another vital piece to the puzzle, because when you're buying and selling, you're part of that volume, and whether the supply is high or low really has a factor on the price. Bitcoin average directional movement index over 30 days. Simple way to look at this is if the line is below 20, there is no trend that is picking up. If the line is between 25 and 50, is reading a strong trend. Between 50 and 75 is a very strong trend, and between 75 and 100 is an extremely strong trend. Now, this doesn't tell you which direction that trend is moving. This is just indicating that there is a trend or no trend present. Looking at the Bitcoin Ultimate Oscillator over 30 days, this is similar to your RSI, where if the oscillating line is at 30 or below, that's signaling oversold, where if the line is at 70 or above, that signals overbought. Now you might be asking yourself, well, if the RSI is already included, why is the Ultimate Oscillator on there if it's just indicating the same thing? If you need more of an in-depth understanding, please visit those training tools, as you'll be able to understand how the ultimate oscillator is comprised and what data points is using compared to the RSI. Looking at the Bitcoin parabolic SAR, which stands for stop and reversal. Now this is looking over the course of 30 days. Now I really do like the parabolic SAR, and I honestly don't go to it enough. So I'm really glad that they included this in their report, because the parabolic SAR really is a strong indicator and really easy to read here. If you're getting these dots printed above your candles, that's indicating sell signals, where if your dots are printed below your candles, that's indicating buy signal. And what you really want to do is look for 3 printed dots in a row for a strong confirmation. The Fibonacci retracement is a very interesting tool, and it is amazing how many times you see reversals bounce perfectly off Fibonacci retracement levels. So again, look for those further detailed explanation about the Fibonacci retracement in the training tools. Next up, we have Bitcoin candles with Hikaki. Now, I admittedly don't use Hikaki candles really ever. So using this on more of a daily time frame will be something new for me that I am looking forward to. Now, I'm familiar with Hikaki, I just haven't used it really in my bag of tools on a regular basis. So just looking at this, we can see that the dot above the candle is your unconfirmed bull signal. The dot below the candle is an unconfirmed bear signal. So the dots that you have on here are more or less light confirmations, where when you've got the line that gets put on, which you can see there's 2 lines here, those are your strong confirmations of whichever the indication is. So here we have a strong bear confirmed, and here we have another strong bear confirmed as well. The last indicator currently included in the report is the Bitcoin copart curve, and this spans over the course of 90 days. Now, the brief description of this is you have your indicator line here as the blue line, and then you've got a 0 line. If the copart indicator line crosses above the 0 line going in an upward direction, that's an indication of a strong upward movement coming. Whereas if the indicator line crosses your 0 line in a downward movement, that's indicating bearish pressure on the market. And to conclude the report, at the bottom they have historical data. So we've got the Bitcoin forecasted price range from this report versus the actual, as well as the MAPE score, which is your mean absolute percentage error. So over on the left, in the blue, you have the price prediction range, and then the pink shows the actual price range for that day, while the green line is indicating your relative value. So over here on the right, you've got the mean absolute percentage error, and it gives you a calculation over the past 7 days of the Genie.io price prediction range report accuracy, which, if you know anything about indicators and the accuracy percentage of them, I would take an 89% any day as a great tool to use in my toolbox. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, if you're covering this range report on your channel, why would I need to purchase it? And I'll tell you why. Well, for starters, we aren't going to be using this report every single day. Probably 2, tops probably 3 times a week. And if you look down at this chart here, you can see how it's broken up into the 7-day forecast. That 7-day forecast actually updates every single day, which is exactly what you want from a price predicting range report. You want something that takes all the new data and news coming out and applies it and gives you new updated metrics. So if this is in your hands, you're able to actually use this on a daily basis to confirm that your entry or exit points are still intact with what your technical analysis is pointing at. Now, with all that being said, I don't want to take up any more of your time, so we're going to leave the video right there. If you got anything of substance from this video, go ahead and hit that like button. That really does help us out tremendously, and we will catch you folks in the next video.
Like, comment, and subscribe, yeah.